Can we kill all of our opponents on the board by strictly playing lands? Let's find out in this video. Check it out. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, aka Finley Kilgore, and today we are doing a Pauper Commander deck tech where we are going to look at Tannuk Memorial Ensign, the Gruul landfall commander out of the newest set in Magic the Gathering Edge of Eternities. I have been very excited about this guy coming out because Rydia from the Final Fantasy set did not end up being quite as good as I was hoping for a new landfall hopeful. We're not talking about Strider. Strider just doesn't exist. So before we get into that, make sure if you're not subscribed already, you go down there, hit the subscribe button so you can get updated on all of the latest videos that I've got coming out. Also, hit the like button on this. It helps out a lot. And then also don't forget to drop a comment down below. And while you're at it, you can also go check out my socials. I'm on Instagram at Finley Kilgore, and you can also head over to my Whatnot page, which is Finley Kilgore. And if you go in the description down below, you'll find a link for that Whatnot page. I like selling cardboard. And you'll also find my affiliate link, where if you click that as a first-time user, you will get $15 in free credit for either my store or any store that's on whatnot.com. Just remember, shipping and handling charges may apply. So, Tannuk Memorial Ensign is a very interesting card because we're getting to do something that we really enjoy doing in red in a lot of different decks, which is pinging the hell out of our opponents by just doing what we want to do. But we also get the second added bonus in the fact that it is a green card and a red card that says draw a card. So what does he do? He is a 3-mana 2/4, which means he dodges breath, weapon, fiery cannonade, and lightning bolts, which is very nice. His landfall trigger, on the other hand, is the best part of him. Whenever a land you control enters, Tannuk deals 1 damage to each opponent. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card. So the coolest part of Tannuk is not just the pinging, but it is being able to draw a card. And since we are playing in green, we have a lot of ways to be able to make that happen. So we have to look first at what is our win con. Our win con is really pinging as much as possible and then gaining advantage off of some of our landfall triggers. So we've got cards like Kosi's Ravager that are going to allow us to ping our opponent. This one does only hit target player rather than each opponent, whereas we also have Sabatender out of the Final Fantasy set. That's going to allow us to be able to hit each opponent with each land drop. And then we've also got Spitfire Lagak, which does the same thing. This is out of Zendikar Rising from back in the day. Those are going to be the biggest win cons that we have, but we do have a separate pinging win con, as you probably saw over here. We've got Impact Trimmers out of Dragon Sotar Kier. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, Impact Trimmers deals 1 damage to each opponent. So how are we getting more of these creatures out? Well, we can utilize Elfsworn Giant for that. Whenever land enters the battlefield, you make a 1/1 elf. It also has reach, so we're able to block out something like Malcolm, Keen-Eyed and Navigator. Or we can even block out Black Waltz number 3, who is really stinking up a storm right now. And we've also got Spore Mound, which is another card that gives you 1/1s, particularly 1/1 Saproling creature tokens. So we've got those ways to be able to ping, but we also need to have other landfall payoffs. We can't just have that be it. So in those slots, we've got Akum Hellhound. Whenever land enters, he gets +2/+2 until end of turn. As a 1-mana 0/1, he doesn't really do a whole lot on his own, but being able to play a land and turn him into a 2/3, it's pretty nice. We also happen to have other cards that are going to give us the landfall triggers we're looking for, such as Life Gain. Grazing Gladeheart, Jotty Offshoot, and Kazandu Nectarpot are all going to help us to gain life back, so we get something that helps us against all of those pesky pinging decks that we're going to play against. Meanwhile, we also happen to have Territorial Scythecat. Territorial Scythecat is going to get a 1/1 counter for every land that enters the battlefield, and he has Trample, so we can get him to get through for damage. But then on top of that, he's also just a really good landfall creature for us to play. As far as anything outside of that, we've got big creatures that we can also play. Crash of Rhino Beetles, I like putting this into any form of lands deck that we play. As long as you have 10 or more lands, it gets +10/+10, so he turns into a 5-drop 15/15 with Trample. very difficult to deal with on the board. We also have Balaam T. Rexar, which is going to allow us to search for a forest if we need to. He will gain us a little bit of life, but he's also a 6/6 trampler, so that's nice. Fungal Colossus is another one out of Edge of Eternities. There's a number of Edge of Eternities cards that are being played in this deck, and I really like a lot of what Edge of Eternities has been able to add to Pauper Commander, but in particular, this card is very nice. 7 mana 5/5, doesn't have trample or anything, but he costs X less, where X is the number of differently named lands that you control. And as you can see, we've got a fair number of differently named lands that we can put onto the battlefield. Goblin Anarchomancer is going to give us the ability to reduce our overall cost, and I got to double check with a judge to make sure, but I'm pretty sure since your commander is both red and green, it does mean that that would reduce it by 2, but I'm not totally positive, so don't quote me on that. We also happen to have Llanowar Elves in here for some mana ramp. We've got a couple of different cards that are going to let us put more lands from our hand onto the battlefield, like Llanowar Scout, as well as Skyshroud Ranger, and I thought we had a third one in here. Maybe we don't. We've got a couple of them in here. So we've got all these ways to be able to gain advantage off of land, and we've got ways to support that. How are we getting all the lands that we need? Well, we're going to play a lot of the normal mana ramp spells that you find inside of the format. So you've got your Rampant Growth, Nature's Lore, you've got your Kodama's Reach, you've got your Farseek, you've got Edge of Autumn, which doesn't get a lot of play. What I really like about it is you can cycle by sacking a land. Since we're playing so many lands, it doesn't hurt us, but it's 2 mana. You can go find a land, put it onto the battlefield, tap if you've got 4 or fewer. So in the early game, good for mana ramp. In the late game, good for getting some card draw. We've also got Cultivate. That's one, these types of cards that are going to get you 2 lands are really nice, because these are the ones that are going to be able to net you a replacement card in hand for playing that second land. We've also got Call the Mountain Chocobo out of Final Fantasy. This allows you to look for a mountain card, so you can grab your dual lands like Highland Forest or Wooded Ridgeline off of this, and then it's going to make a 2/2 that gets that landfall trigger with the +1/+0, and you can flash it back. So you can really net 2 lands out of this and 2 Chocobos out of this as well. We've also got Geisel Greens. That's going to make that 2/2 as well. So those are very nice options. Skyshroud Claim, go find 2 forests, put them onto the battlefield. We got Roamer's Routine. This is one out of Tarkir Dragonstorm that I really do enjoy, because you're able to go get a basic land, get it into the battlefield tapped. It does cost 3. However, in the graveyard, it has that new mechanic Harmonize, which is a little bit like Flashback, but you can tap a creature down in order to help pay for its cost. So that 4 mana cost just off of Tannuk alone can be reduced by 2. If you've got something bigger, then you can reduce that down to where it's just going to cost you 1 mana, which is very nice. We also have a Ranger's Path in the deck, because in all honesty, it's a very forgotten card. You're able to grab straight up forests. It does not have to be just a basic forest. And if anything, it's going to get you those 2 land drops that you need in order to be able to draw a card as well. One of the last ones that I want to show off, we've got a number of them. Steve is in here. We've got, where's the other one? We've got Steve, Greater Tanuki, which is channel, so that way you can try and get a land without getting counter. We've got Farhaven Elf. Tons of ways to be able to find lands, but one of the ones that I loved putting in here, which I don't get to do often, is Crop Rotation. You go find a land card, put it on the battlefield, it can come in untapped. The thing that I like about this is if you are playing against some type of an aggressive strategy, you can go hunt out a Colony Garden, make a 0/1 plant, and then make your opponent cry, because they are not going to hit you like they thought they would. Aside from that, we're playing a number of other cards that are going to be removal options for us, or they're going to protect. For instance, we got Biosynthetic Burst. You get a 1/1 counter on creature you control, then they get Reach, Trample, and Indestructible, and you can untap them, so we can protect our Tannuk, at least with this if need be, as well as the Snakeskin Veil. We would run Tameo Safekeeping, but in all honesty, I just really wanted to try out the Biosynthetic Burst, because that Reach could end up being very pertinent, again, in a format that really cares about flyers like Malcolm. We also have Breath Weapon, Fiery Cannonade for board wiping purposes. Cast into the Fire and Suplex are on here really because I like the Exile clause that's on Suplex, but also both of them give you the ability to exile an artifact. I don't know about you, exiling a Golem Foundry or exiling a big boy like a Surgeoners or something like that can go a long way. So I do like having those in the decks. And then we've got a couple of other options. We've got a lull in here. That's going to help us to stop some combat damage from coming our way. We do also have the Heated Debate because we want to have uncounterable removal options to deal with Malcolm in particular, but also to deal with something like Laylo Weaver or to deal with something like third Clan Iconoclast. We've also got the Heritage Reclamation because, let's be real, it's much better than Return to Nature at this point. We've got a couple of cantrip options in here as well with Charge Through. I do believe that I have a Crash Through in here as well. Yes, Crash Through is in here. Removal option with Chocobo Kick out of Final Fantasy. What's nice about this one, we're able to bounce a land back over to our hand, and then we get double the amount of damage based on the power of a creature that we control. So just with Tannuk, you can make that deal 4 damage, and then you get a land back to hand. You could play that land for the turn if you didn't already have one. We've also got a Raider's Carve and an Explorer's Scope in here to be able to hunt down a few more lands. As far as our land base and what we're playing there, really we're just looking at a basic tutor package. We've got Ash Barrens, we've got the Cabaret Courtyard, which is also going to give us a little bit of life gain. An Evolving Wilds, we've got the Terramorphic Expanse. We've also got the Rugged Highlands just to give us a little bit of extra life gain in the deck. We've got the Hidden Nursery because Discover is very good, and being able to hit Discover 4, it basically hits almost anything that's in our deck. We also happen to have the Gruul Turf, so that way we can bounce the land back after playing it and then play a second land for turn to draw a card if need be. And then we've got the Forgotten Cave in order to do the cycling. I did not include the green version of this, the Tranquil Thicket, namely because I found that red was a very weak color inside of our deck overall. And so that one seemed to be the one I'd rather cycle than the green. I don't want to spend the green mana to cycle if I can help it. And that honestly is the deck list. It's a very simple and straightforward deck list. In the small amount of playtesting that I've done with the deck, it's done very well against aggro decks when you get a Spore Mound or an Elfsworn Giant on the board. Those reach options seem really good against flying strategies, although I have not had to play it against any flying strategies yet. And at the end of the day, I'm just glad that we finally have a Gruul Commander that has some form of keywording in landfall that feels like it can actually compete against some of these more competitive style decks. So let me know what you guys think about the deck in the comments below. Again, I hope everybody's enjoying the Pauper Commander deck techs. I'm going to be running quite a few of the Edge of Eternity's commanders over the month of August because I've just really enjoyed theory crafting and figuring out how to make these decks really strong and really powerful. So that's it for this video. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you get in the comments section, hit the subscribe button. Again, I am Josh, aka Finley Kilgore, and I will see you in the next video.